The MCU is filled with some really powerful heroes. Take Captain Marvel, for example. She's so OP to the point that she made it her personal hobby to punch spaceships. There's also Scarlet Witch, who can pretty much manipulate reality with her powers. Sure, there are many other really powerful heroes and villains around, but when it comes to Carol and Wanda, there's a very important factor involved, and that is the Infinity Stones. Yes, both women got their abilities from the Space and Mind Stones, which turned the two into godlike beings. But the movies never really explained how the stones gave them powers, and that is what we're going to try to do in this video. We'll suggest why the Infinity Stones give some people powers and theorize about what it could all mean for the future of the MCU. When you're in the possession of even one Infinity Stone, you get yourself some serious OP abilities. This should come with no surprise. After all, we're talking here about magical cosmic rocks. The Infinity Stones could give you pretty much omnipotent power, as long as you have at least one of them in your possession. But the rules change completely when it comes to heroes like Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch. While both of them got their powers from the Space and Mind Stones respectively, they don't actually need the colorful gems to keep using their powers. We actually have no idea how powerful Captain Marvel is at this point, but it's clear that she's without a doubt one of the most powerful heroes around, and could pose a threat to even someone like Galactus. But Scarlet Witch isn't far behind, as she proved how powerful she was when she almost squashed Thanos like a tin can. Seriously, Thanos, you silly titan? When an angry chick with red energy shows up to kill you, you don't tell her you don't know her. You tell her how sorry you are, and then you just run away as fast as you can before she turns you into paste. This is a very unique precedent, where people can get outstanding powers from the stones without actually needing the stones to use these abilities. This is a big change from the comics, where the only way characters can be granted abilities from the stones is to actually possess them. When Wanda and Pietro Maximoff received their powers from the Mind Stone, many fans assumed that it was just a way for Marvel Studios to explain how the twins got their powers in the films without being mutants. But then it was revealed that Captain Marvel got her powers from the Space Stone, which pretty much confirmed the idea that in the MCU, characters could get their powers from the Infinity Stones. Now, of course, some of you might ask, what about Vision? He also got powers from the Mind Stone, but the difference is that Vision got his powers directly from the stone that was embedded in his head. With that being said, we must ask some questions. How come the Infinity Stones grant some people godlike abilities? Why are the stones giving people powers anyway? And are there other heroes with such powers? And what could this mean for the future of the MCU? Let's start with answering the how. Back in the 90s, Marvel used the energy of the Tesseract to create a light-speed engine, an engine that Carol Danvers ended up blowing up, trying to prevent it from falling into Kree hands. The explosion resulted in Carol absorbing the Space Stone's energy, which turned her into one of the most powerful beings in the MCU. While Carol wasn't exposed to the stone directly, we think that the energy released from the engine was more than enough to cause Carol's transformation. So essentially, we're talking about a regular human being absorbing energy from one of the Infinity Stones, an event that caused a rapid evolution, a transformation from a regular being into a super-powered one with extraordinary abilities. There are two major factors here that could cause this transformation. The first is that a person needs to be compatible with the stones, meaning there needs to be something very specific in your DNA to cause this reaction from the stones, where you can absorb their energy as opposed to turning into paste. The second thing that's crucial for the transformation is that it might only occur under extreme circumstances, when it's a life or death situation. If not for the Space Stone's energy, Carol would have died from the explosion, so you could say that the released energy attached itself to Carol. And with some cosmic natural selection, the ex-pilot became Captain Marvel. And it seems like natural selection is key here, since it's what happened with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. After getting his hands on Loki's scepter, Baron von Strucker found out that the Mind Stone inside the staff could result in a pretty impressive evolution, turning regular humans into enhanced superhumans with godlike powers. All the test subjects died, except for the Maximoff twins. Wanda and Pietro would have died, but apparently something in their DNA synced with the Mind Stone, which resulted in not only their survival, but their evolution as well. We'll admit that Quicksilver is far less powerful than Captain Marvel or Scarlet Witch. We're not 100% sure why that's the case, but let's be honest, the MCU's version of Quicksilver left a lot to be desired. Seriously, we still have no idea how it's possible that a speedster who's faster than a speeding bullet could be riddled by so many speeding bullets? Well, at least the X-Men movies did poor Quicksilver some justice. Anyway, judging by all of this, it seems like the only way to absorb energy from the Infinity Stones and get some serious godlike powers is to be compatible with the stone, and at the same time be on the verge of death. Maybe it's some type of test by the stones to see which humans are powerful enough to survive. Like we said, it sounds like some type of cosmic natural selection. And it's very possible that the reason why the stones are reacting this way to people will be answered in 2020's The Eternals movie. In the comics, there are ancient beings who are pretty much considered to be cosmic gods. These beings are called the Celestials, and for billions of years they've been traveling throughout the universe, genetically manipulating life everywhere they go. Millions of years ago, the Celestials visited Earth, and they've genetically engineered some of the humans that lived on the planet at the time. This led to an instant evolution for those selected humans, which created two new races, the Eternals and the Deviants. The Eternals look like regular humans, but they live very long lives, capable of staying alive for a whole millennia, and they have some amazing powers. The Deviants, on the other hand, are mutants that appear as hideous monsters. The Mad Titan Thanos is actually an Eternal Deviant hybrid. In November 6, 2020, the Eternals will join the MCU, and we believe that it'll be revealed that the Eternals got their powers from the Infinity Stones, same as Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch. While in the comics, the Celestials don't usually use the Infinity Stones, the gems actually originate from an ancient universe that was inhabited by the Celestials. However, Marvel Studios has clearly set the stage for a far bigger connection in the movies. 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy was the first movie to introduce the Celestials. Not only that, but we saw the Celestial Aeson the Searcher using the Power Stone to wipe out an entire planet, which is proof for us that there's a connection between the cosmic gods and the stones. Maybe we're reading too much into this, but why else would Marvel Studios show a Celestial wielding one of the stones? The cosmic gods could have been the original masters of the stones, as they used them to shape life in the universe. We know that the Celestials will show up in the Eternals movie, and since Marvel Studios tends to simplify things in their films, we suspect they'll alter elements from the comics to fit their stories better. After all, we already saw some of that alteration when it was revealed that Ego the Living Planet is a Celestial in the MCU, which is not the case in the comics. And so, our theory might not be as far-fetched as it sounds. Okay, it might be, but until the movie comes out, there's always the chance that we're right. And let's be honest, we have at least 3 heroes that got powers from the Infinity Stone, so it'll be very out of character for Marvel Studios to not capitalize on that and find ways to tell more stories along those lines. If the Celestials were trying to create superhuman beings on Earth, it's possible they performed the same intense life and death experiments that Hydra had performed on the Maximoff twins, something that could explain how ancient humans evolved into the Eternals. That being said, it's likely that the Eternals won't be as powerful as Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch. Let's be honest, the MCU will get pretty boring if there are so many godlike beings running around. Too many super powerful heroes could cause the movies to become pretty boring, since all the stakes will be lost. It's possible that when the Celestials created the Eternals, the cosmic gods added some limitations that prevented the Eternals from becoming too powerful. Possibly because the Celestials didn't want their creations to be so strong that they'd become a threat to the cosmic gods. When Carol and Wanda were exposed to the stones, there were no Celestials around to limit how much energy they'd absorb. So both women got the full, raw, and unlimited force of the Space and Mind Stones. This will explain why they're so powerful. Regardless of whether or not the Eternals will be revealed to have gotten their powers from the stones, we have to wonder if Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch are the only heroes in the MCU that became enhanced beings after absorbing the energy of the Infinity Stones. Well, we think there's at least another one that comes to mind, and that one is a mighty being that wields a magic hammer. No, not you, Thor. Remember Thor: The Dark World, a movie that most people probably want to forget about? In that film, Jane Foster was exposed to the Reality Stone. The red fluid-like ether infected Jane and entered her body. It was recently revealed that Jane will be coming back in Thor: Love and Thunder, where she will become the Mighty Thor. Well, it's very possible that Jane got some serious powers from the Reality Stone, which might explain how she'll become the female Thor. The Reality Stone is really powerful, since, it can manipulate and control reality itself. And let's not forget that the stone was inside Jane's body for at least a day or two. Who knows how the Reality Stones affected Jane's DNA, but the effects must have been extreme. Maybe because of this, Jane will not only be extremely powerful, but she might end up being even stronger than Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch. But what about the Power, Time, and Soul Stones? Could there be heroes who got powers from those 3 stones? Sure, Thanos reduced the Infinity Stones to atoms, but the stones have been around for billions of years. And wouldn't it be interesting to find out that the MCU has at least 6 heroes who got the abilities for each one of the stones? Or maybe there are some villains who got powers from the stones. Now that could raise the stakes, that's for sure. We guess only time will tell. What do you think about all this? Do you think the Celestials are the reason why Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch got their powers? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, show us some love by leaving a like and subscribing to CBR. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.